Uh, well, it's 3:40. I'm back. Okay, so as you know, I kind of earlier I took care of my sprint. I still have it up here because I was actually trying to get some other things working. I had to do editing for my video that I moved over. I did a small. Hey, Crossbow, how's it going? I tweaked the video. Now I hate video editing. Just telling you, I hate it. Oh wait, well, my bad. I don't hate it with my all my heart and soul. I just I just don't enjoy it. But I know how all these guys out there who are building all right, man. Hey, there's all these guys out there that uh, are doing software development, game design, and they're streaming it, right? So there's a number of them, and there's all of the ones that have significant subscriber base. Speaking of YouTube, they do videos. I mean, videos, not live streaming. And some of them do live streaming, but it's their videos that are getting subscribers. And I think a lot of that comes in it's piecemeal and people can take something away from it. Like they're learning something, they're getting some piece of knowledge out of that experience. So in doing that, they're growing their user base, their subscriber base, and even their interest. People who want to have, uh, who want to get their game. They want to back them. They want to support their game, which which of course is the ultimate goal, right? And why won't this go away? So I spent time editing my video this morning, and again, it was only an hour and a half long, but it still took me like an hour and a half to actually do, maybe longer. By the time I got it done, and then I had to put it up. You cut all the garbage out. Basically, that 90-minute video I did, I reduced it to like 7 minutes, which is scary if you think about it. That's like 7 minutes of work done in 90 minutes. I mean, yes, there's some thinking. Yes, there was some talking. Yes, there's some stuff going on. But what does that say about my productivity? Well, sometimes it's not much, I guess. That's why a lot of times I have to just work offline because as much as I enjoy the streaming, I do need to, I probably wouldn't be nearly as far as I am if all I did was stream. I get a lot further a lot of times by not streaming, but also it's what to gets me started sometimes. Even gets the engine going. Because I'm sitting there going, well, uh, I have where is this? Let's see if this is gonna work. Nope. I don't know why this keeps losing connection. Um, it's probably something I need to tweak in my in the functionality of it. Why does stop it? Ah, God, stop it! Why do you do that? Oh, man, there's definitely some quirkiness about this tool of mine. But I will. It's like, got it. And that's another thing, click up link, my YouTube editor, my, what do you call it? The ultimate collector's ladder, ultimate community ladder, and the other tools that I work on, my little sports related subscriber counter. Sometimes I have to work on other things just to get my, um, to keep my sanity and to show that I can get some stuff done. I mean, because this is a long task. I mean, designing and building a game is a long, It's a long road. It's not one that I'm going to lose focus on, no doubt. It's still my primary thing. It's still the thing I spend most of my time on. But it's well, the reason I'm trying to oh is this it? Okay, that's it. So all these things that I'm using just give me a little bit of diversion, and they're tools that I can use. But I have lost probably a month and a half of time in the time. That's why you see my my counter. I do a day counter. That's pretty much the number of days I have actually worked on this. So starting last November, I'm on day like 195, 196, which is what? Almost 7 months. Now, since it's now September. We're on month 10, so I'm about a month lost to other things. I had a vacation, worked on these other tools, all things that have been helpful to me and useful, but they do kind of they do take away a little bit from my time. And I don't have my football subscriber counter up. By the way, if you know anybody on Twitch who might be interested in my game, I'm one subscriber from hitting 200. You're like, whoa, big whoop. But it's a milestone, right? It's a 100 milestone. 100, 200, and then, 300, 400. Those are all pretty good numbers, sitting at 199. So I need one more person to get me off over that 199 hump. As you can see here on my YouTube channel, I'm at 174. I need 26 more people on my YouTube channel. So that's a little ways to go. I also have a dedicated YouTube channel that's just dedicated to this game, and I do some videos on it. I sometimes live stream there too, so keep an eye on that. That's AM Games Dev. AM Games Dev, yes. Ken, which is it? Is it AM Games Dev? Yes, sir. I think it is. It's AM Games Dev. Check it out if you want to see other videos related to this. I am trying to do more of them here because I already have kind of a head start on my work or on my subscriber base. And since I don't have enough subscribers to justify creating a second channel, what I'm doing is I create videos, or I take some of these videos, I'll edit them down to bite-sized chunks, smaller bites. So if they're like, I try to get them down to, I'm going to keep trying to get them down under 20 minutes. So that's the goal. And hopefully assign them to the correct days. They're going to be out of order though, because like today I did the planning one for 9/4, but I might be creating some of my other videos. I have to go edit them, and they're going to be for pre-9/4. But as long as there's something in there worth keeping. So that's the thing. Football manager. Now, the reason I'm doing this on this tool that I created is so that I can put tags in. Restream won't put tags in, even though I have a tags command. It doesn't work. It doesn't put anything in YouTube. In fact, it doesn't do anything in YouTube except put in my description in the title. And if I put an image in, it'll watermark it, and it puts its own text into my description, because I'm using the free version of Restream and I don't want to pay. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been using images for my things until I can get this updated, until I make some time to get this YouTube tool updated to actually allow me to upload a thumbnail. I don't mind editing my images to be the right size, but I do need to get them set up. So I need to give myself a box here to upload an image so that I can upload it to YouTube when I make this update. So I can put an image up that's not watermarked by Restream. I don't even know what else I'm doing here. Okay, so yeah, good enough. Anyhow, so anywho, where does that come from anyway? Anywho, what? That originates from something. Anyhow, so let's go ahead and try to see if I can get my kicking skills done. What I'm going to do though is you see I have my kick skill and my accuracy skill. This is passing though. I don't have it titled correctly. This is actually QB accuracy. I should put some more useful titles on these. Like there's no reason they have to be named the way they are. Or maybe they do. I don't know. Sometimes labeling variables can be a little weird and go. Like sometimes I know in React and Angular, a lot of times you have to use variable names that match. Well, no. Okay, wait. No, that's not true. Only in the parameters do they have to match the name. So this piece. So where it says source player, player stats, and control modifiers, they have to match the name of the parameter. So you can see like I go here and it's source stats, control modifiers, player stats. Oh, no, source player. Okay, maybe not. It must just be React and Angular that make you match. Because here it's actually not matching. I thought it did. Control modifiers and player stats do match, but player doesn't. So maybe it's only React that makes you match them. And you have to match them correctly, because if you don't, it doesn't work. It's kind of weird. I mean, I guess it makes sure that your stuff is consistent across the board, but it's not normal. If you use C#, like I'm used to using like C# and other languages, I pass a variable. It doesn't matter what the variable is on one side, because it's going to go in to the other side, which makes sense really, because sometimes you need to give them more descriptive values where they're calling from. Because like here, BLS skill means nothing, right? It's just BLS skill. Well, I mean, yes, it's behind the line of scrimmage, which in itself doesn't mean, but what is this? What skill is this, right? Short of putting a comment above and says these are passing accuracy values. But if I go into the accuracy skill and I'm inside the accuracy skill and I'm using the term BLS accuracy BLS skill, then there's, oh, well, I mean, was he talking about behind the line of scrimmage or accuracy at 1 to 10? But we know what we're in there. In fact, this should actually be called passing accuracy or pass accuracy or whatever. Like I named this one kick. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to rename this because it's going to drive me crazy. So now that I've shown you why I'm wrong and why I've screwed this thing up, I'm going to undo it, because I don't like it when I do things. And it's my fault. I created it. I named it that. So the only one I can blame is myself. There's the other one. I knew there was going to be one in test somewhere. All right, so we're going to replace get accuracy skill. Let's go and do a replace with get pass accuracy skill. That's better. And there's only 4, it looks like. So it shouldn't make a huge problem. And then these, I'm gonna rename these. It's pass accuracy here, and yes, I could theoretically not worry about kick around. All right, let's just do this for now. I don't want to rename them. I'll go QB pass accuracy. I do have these skills, the accuracy skills, based on range. So how good is a quarterback at throwing at 30 plus or 20 plus? Same thing with kickers, you know, at 20 plus, 40 plus, that kind of thing. So some quarterbacks have an arm. And so I don't really need to say arm strength. I could. have an arm strength one, which maybe I would use just to kind of let somebody know what to expect from that person. And then I use the logic underneath. What's Wednesday? Oh, yesterday was Wednesday. Watching Wednesday. You mean like watching my Wednesday stream? I don't know. Did I even stream yesterday? I don't remember streaming yesterday. Okay, I probably did. Maybe that was my morning. Did I stream twice? I don't know. I lose track of days. So many things. All right, let's go back. So I am going to break out my some more stuff. I'm keeping these functions here because I don't want to keep calling this. I don't want to keep recreating this function, which I have to call and pass in different values each time. And this was really just a test thing. I don't need this here. But what I'm going to do is go, I'm going to create another file because I'm going to call, I need to. So here's a problem. I don't like my files getting to be upwards of 500 lines. That's too big. I've got a lot of these files are close to 500, but I try to keep them under. Once they start to exceed 500 lines, it just starts to get too cluttery. And I'm not even done with this, which means I have to add more lines because I'm working on kick and punt, and it's just too much. And if I ever break down skills, like decide to add a strength skill or anything like that, that's just adding more. And I want to keep these centralized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file here. We're going to call it set. Well, actually, you know what I could do? This is what I was actually thinking of doing. Because my general skills really only have, how many does general skills have? Still 276. I thought about keeping them all together, just calling them, adding them, changing this to special teams and general skills. But general skills are, speed. Everybody's got speed, right? Conditioning, injury, big play potential. Everybody's got that. It might be dependent on their particular side of the ball and what they're doing, but they have that potential. And of course, it is specific to that particular player, and it only applies at certain times for that player because that's what they do. But it's a special modifier that I created that's got its place. Just like speed, it's calculated off of different things, but ultimately it's just speed. Everybody gets a speed value, but it's going to be, it's different stats to create it. All right, so 274. If I add in these lines, we're going to get upwards. All right, let's just do the new file. We're going to call it set special teams skills. Why are you doing this all lowercase? I don't know. I don't know. I have a reason. And trust me, it pains me to do it. You see these underscores? Snake case? That's the work of AI, and I keep telling it to stop doing that. And I think it's been better lately because I put it in the instructions to stop using snake case. And I've been telling it to do lowercase. Why lowercase, you may ask? Because I've run into places where lowercase is kind of the requirement for stuff, and I'm like, well, I want to be consistent. I don't want it to be some places one thing and some places other. I've got to create a state that's consistent. So my mind says that's what we're doing. So whatever. Until I change my mind. Kick, kick, kick. This, and we're going to put it in my special team skills. what else we got here? I think there was others. I think I actually put in the defensive skills. My returns, pass defense, tackle, run defense, escape block. Oh, nope, I thought I had them there. All right, so maybe they're under, are they offensive skills? Base pass, run pass, ball security, yards after catch, yards per rush. Aha, kick return. Here we go. Kick return and punt return. And we'll put those on special teams as well. There you go. All right, so just watching the show, okay. Well, like now I'm still working on skills. Today I'm working on my kick and kicking skills. I'm just kind of also refactoring a bit, moving some files to special teams file. Yeah. So, ooh, they are important if you think about how how crucial they're going to be and how this game plays. They are probably the most realistic result-inducing feature of this game are the skills. If the skills don't match and blend correctly, we don't get good results that don't look right. You know, we get too many incompletions or too many completions or no passes defensed, or you just don't get any of the good feel of a game being accurate. And so that's kind of the important part of the skill. So I have to get these actually set up and built correctly so that everything that my players do kind of fits the game correctly. All right, so what is our problem here? Oh, well, that should still work. Why aren't those working? Oh, is it because no? I was going to say it's because they don't exist. All right, something is off because they definitely exist. All right, what am I doing wrong? All right, where's my QB skills? What did I mess up? What did I mess up, man? Oh. Well, actually, those should have built on their own, but we'll put this in here. Maybe that's the problem. I forgot to put my stuff in here. QB special team skills. Okay, there you go. That fixed it. I'll fix that part of it anyway. All right, so that's fine. We would get some errors here. That's normal. I have to, like I said, because punting and kicking aren't, well, kickoff is kind of done. But I have a lot of parts I got to build for this, though. Because I decided I'm going to put in kick strength. Okay, so these are tests. And I don't have, I got to put this in here. Player skills. This one's going to be special teams, but I think I put it here. Kick skill. This is kick accuracy. Okay. So Here's my kick accuracy. We'll go ahead and assign it to me just because it's fun to do. Call it in development. Now, there's only 2 of my skills that actually return multiple skills. Accuracy for passing and accuracy for kicking. They actually have multiple skills returned because the logic is basically the same. It's just different kicking values. So I just decided to have it return all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could have done separate functions, but they would have been tiny. But I am following the same pattern as my offensive or my QB skills. So it's just because it seems like I already kind of solved this stuff, so I don't really want to reinvent the wheel if I don't have to. It's the same basic idea, but I have to identify the parts. Oh, wait. Oops, nope, wrong thing. All right, so let's see here. So I am doing attempts 1 to 10 yards. So I have this control modifier I created, which is this league average statistically solid mod modifier, short for modifier. Its purpose is to create a baseline that I can state as being, this is statistically normal. In other words, how many passes do you need for it to be something you can rely on? And at least according to AI, the NFL and a lot of other statistical analysis, I guess, figure about 30. So if somebody has only thrown 5 passes or only ran and only played in 3 games, it's hard to average them out for being, that's what they normally get, right? You can't really expect them to consistently do that. If somebody's got a completion percentage over 10 passes and they're 100%, are they always going to be 100%? Highly unlikely. So what is and the more passes they have, the more realistic it is, right? So you say that at least 30 to be kind of relatively close. So what is their average over 30 passes? And then you want to kind of determine, well, 30 BLS versus 30 at 20 to 30 yards. There's 30 BLS is like, you're probably going to be pretty accurate. 30 at 20 to 30 is probably, anytime you can throw 30 passes to use as a base modifier, you're probably going to have a pretty good statistical logic. So that's why I said statistically solid mod. I think that's what I said, or statistically normal mod. And then anybody who's below that statistical standard loses some of the credit for their performance. So if you've only thrown 20 passes and the statistical modifier I have is 30, that means you're only going to get about 66% of your credit. So to be expected. So you're not going to be expected to actually replicate that. It's going to be about 66% of that. Now, that same logic goes both ways, and I don't actually compensate positively. Sorry. So guys who have 20 out of 30, they're going to get a 33% reduction in their skill value, on the assumption that they'd actually be 33% worse. But it's just because we don't have enough data to actually say that they're going to get better or worse. And therefore, I can't rely on this value. And it's also a statement into their availability, right? So how good are these guys? Well, we don't know. They're a little iffy. But some guys may get like a deduction, a 33% deduction because they didn't throw enough passes. But say they're a star player. They got a 33% reduction because they were injured. They did not throw enough passes, but we know that they're probably pretty good, and so they may have a high potential. And that high potential could offset the 33% reduction. Maybe not completely, but it's gonna make them perform a little bit better than they would if they had not a high potential. Now, if they're a star player who's already met their potential and they're way at the top, then there's probably not going to be much help there. But like if you had a fantastic year or so, you've got a lot of potential left in you, the odds of you hitting that number are pretty good if you get more playing time. So that's kind of how that balances out. So you've got to get the playing time and have some success before you qualify for that level of credit. So let's get these in here. So we're going to go ahead and kicking is difficult because there's not that many guys that have 30 plus kicks, especially at range, right? So like my stats that I have for kickers, you know, there's some guys that have over 30 kicks. There's only 20 that have actually had 20 or 30 attempts. And with only 30 attempts, only 20 people, that's not gonna. I can't use a statistical modifier that states these guys are, you know, maybe better than that. And how much of a career balance can you take? Like if I have 2 or 3 seasons of data, can I consider 2 or 3 seasons for a kicker to see how statistically accurate they are? I don't know. I mean, this guy had 32 kicks and he only had a 65% rate. That's actually pretty crappy. Who the heck is that? Chris Brown. Sorry, man, Chris. That's bad, dude. You missed 5 kicks out of... No, you missed 11 kicks. Eek, dude. That's terrible. That doesn't sound like the kind of guy that's still playing. I doubt it. No, I don't think anybody's playing from 2009. But I feel like he didn't last that long is all I'm saying. Anyway. Short distances, field goals, and there's not very many short distance field goals, but to be honest, an extra point is the same distance as 1 to 19 because an extra point is 19 yards. It's 2 plus 17, right? So it's 19 yards. So if you've got a high percentage on extra points, then your short distance field goals are assumed to be about the same. So I just add these two together and call them good for short. 20 on 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, it's going to be tough to get a statistical modifier that fits well for 50 plus. So what can you say? I mean, it's like, it is what it is, but I can't give anybody, even if they're 100%, right? You made 4 kicks. Are you guaranteed to make a kick? Of course you're not. It's not even feasible. So honestly, like Sebastian Janikowski, which when he was playing, he's got good there. He was 6 out of 8 times above 50. That's probably the highest, the rate. It looks like Nick Folk. Nick, where'd it go? Oh, no, it's Josh Scobie. Had 9 attempts. It's not that great. But, so it looks like the best definitely was 90% rate from Sebastian Janikowski. 90% out of 8 attempts, which is the second highest amount in the league that year. That's really good. But do I give him a 90% accuracy rate at that range? I don't think so. I don't know if I want to penalize him for not having 30 kicks, though. Because if I penalize all these guys for not having 30 kicks, they're not going to, I mean, the rate at which they don't have the 30 kicks would be really, really bad, right? So, because if 100% credit is 30 kicks and 10% is only 33% credit, which means if you've got a 60% make it shot, that means you're only getting a 20% on your chances. Which these guys are better than that, right? I mean, they're going to get better than 20%. Excel. Delicious. I don't know. This is my stats sheets that I imported to get data from who was it? Stats Inc. back when I first got this data, and that's all the data I'm building the game off of is my 2009 data. And then when I'm done and I'm all set and the game is ready and working off of this, I'm going to go get the other 16 years between 2009 and 2025. I'm going to import that data into the system, and then I'll have 16 years of data to go into the first seasons of the game, which is good because that's where I'm going to get all of my rookies and such. I do have so for this game, I think my rookies or my draft players are going to be debut players. They're not going to be true rookies. Just I might set them to the right mascot type, because that's the whole premise of this game is who they're drafted by and who their mascot is. But some guys' debut may come with other teams. But I want to I'm thinking that they have to have stats in existence, which would be their debut season, before they can even come into the game. And so I have to figure out how best to get players in. I'll have to find stat information for like all these guys. Like I have 2009 guys, but not all these guys are first year or rookies. So I have to find out who the rookies were, or find out who all these guys were on their rookie season. Who were they drafted by? So how do I find the team all the guys in 2009 were drafted by, so that I can set their mascots correctly? That ought to be interesting. That's going to be a thing. Because I don't know who most of these guys are drafted by. You know what? I don't think I took my power nap today. I don't take one every day, but when I work out, like I did this morning, the more physically draining my workout is, the more I tend to crash as the day goes on. All right. So that said, where was I? Let's get back to it. So I used to be an Excel expert. I would consider myself an Excel expert when I did this. I created this spreadsheet. Not this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet. Which uses all that data. And I just have to refresh this. But all these stats are built from this data. Dang it, where's my... And there is some seriously complicated stuff going on here. It's not just the sheets. I have logic in I have some of these things are built with functions. And then I have this auto teams feature, which I wrote some functions in Excel in the VBA that read the salary statement, the salary values of each of these players on all these pages, and then generates teams for the league, and I just have to tell it, you know, what do I need? I need this many teams or whatever, and it'll run through and try to generate. It'll go until it can generate all those teams. This value, I believe, is the average salary of all the teams. So 7 million, 7 million, 7 million, 7 million. The average salary of all the players on these teams is 7 million. Now, this is only because my top salary value was 9. Or, well, not. I guess that's not true. What was my top salary value? Okay, so I had guys that. Apparently, I had a couple of guys that went higher. But the double digits are just offensive and defensive line players. Defensive line, offensive line. I don't know why I have this person at 12 million. That don't look right. I don't have any QBs that are 12. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I don't think I have any QBs that are 12. I have QBs that are 12? Oh, geez, I have QBs that are all the way up to 13. Okay, never mind. Well, all right, so 13 million. But and the reason I did that was because this is a board game. This was built for a board game. And people had to be able to add these numbers up in their head. So I didn't want them dealing with 56 million and 32 million and trying to sum up these gigantic numbers because, you know, that's not fun. It's fun for some people, but it's not fun for a lot of people, especially like kids who don't want to be like, I had to build my team and I can't add up to $327 million. No, it's like, it's no. So I wanted to make it easier to build these teams because you'd be dealing with numbers that are like less than 15. But the offensive lines are 27 to 30 something million. But that's because they represented 5 players. Again, that's just the design of the board game. So some of that's carrying over. I'm still using salaries as my basis, but they're going to have like realistic numbers. So you may have guys that have 40 or $50 million contracts because that's normal. And the computer's going to handle all those costs. All you have to do is, you know, pick your players and manage the costs that the system is telling you need to you know, that you have. This is how much money you have, how much you have left. Do you want to buy somebody or not? Let's see. My logic. Let's go look at my logic. Kicking. It's mostly kind of just an averages thing. It's pretty basic for some of it. But because I'm doing a kicking power, it's going to adjust some of this stuff. Wait, power? Did I say power? Wait, is it power? I know it's going to add. There's kicking accuracy. No, it's kickoffs. Kickoff skill. All right, let's just do this. So we have made. All right, so kicks made under. Do I need an average? Because if I need an average, I could just grab the average. What am I doing with this? Oh, because it's using the modifier to determine. Get completion percent. Oh, that's the percent. Okay, so it's getting the percent, and then we give them credit. I mean, it's fine. I'm just trying to decide how much I really want to penalize these guys. Because they're not going to have 30. But I could set it up as a... Something's angry? What's angry? Do you have something screaming? I don't know. Huh. Let's just say kicks made under 20 yards. I'm not going to penalize. I'm just trying to decide if I need, oh, this is percentage. Oh, never mind. Kick. Wait. What is that? Oh, I see. Never mind. Jeez, Ken, you're not paying attention to what you're doing. You're doing this the wrong way. There we go. So I got the kick under 20. Now I got to have this, which would be kick. This is the modifier. So that's the modifier. I got to decide how much of a mod I want. This is under 20. Now a lot of guys, they probably hit 30 during the season if they kick in extra points. Let's see how these guys are doing with extra points. Attempts. Two for two. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I was gonna say he made 7 out of 6. How do you do that? Okay, so the attempts and made. It's weird the way they listed this. Attempts and made are out of order. I mean, don't they usually list attempts first and made second? Whatever, this one is doing it the other way. What? Guess I have to do something. Apparently my business account wants me to put some money in there. But I don't have any money income. I haven't sold anything in a while. They make deposits. I mean, my X cases are sold out. I have a few Mage cages left. Well, okay, I have about 7 X cases left out of the, I don't know, 10,000 plus that I originally made. And so I don't really market them anymore because there's no point. And then I have some of the inserts, which people buy the inserts on occasion. I don't know what they're buying them for. Some of them are buying them for X cases that they have. But others are just buying them because they're inserts that are good for other purposes. And I don't market that stuff very often because, again, it's just inserts. What do I market them for? I market them for inserts for my cases, which I don't have any cases, so how do you sell those? I could sell the flex iron bases, which are actually pretty cool. You glue them onto your thing, and they're super thin, and they'll stick to magnets. So if you have a magnetic base somewhere. But the cases I have magnetic bases you can put inside of them. So that's what the flex iron is for, which doesn't mean anything to anybody who doesn't have a magnetic base. If you don't buy the magnetic bases, there's no point in having the flex iron bases for the Mini. So, you know, one requires the other. If you don't have a need for the magnetic case bases if you don't have a case. And if I don't have any cases, I can't sell them to you. Though, I do have some regular customers who actually put magnets on their cases. So they buy my flex iron bases because they know that's what they're for. They're great. You know, you just put the flex iron bases on them, and you can stick them to your magnetic base, which is fine. I don't know how they get in the magnetic bases, but I've had people show them to me. Or some of them will just buy a bunch of these magnets that I have, put them down on a board, or on a shelf, and then they put their flex iron miniatures, flex iron based miniatures onto those magnets. So that's a possibility too. All right, I got 11 minutes to make some progress here. So we'll try and see if I can make some progress. All right, so we got to, I'm going to go ahead and do a statistically, I'm going to go ahead and use this average. It is, I just don't want to penalize anybody for being how do I get, I don't want to say that their accuracy at that range is, you know, as little as 8% chance, because that's not realistic. But now I could lower the statistical penalty, saying that maybe I only take half, or maybe I set it at range. And then I'd have to have, I couldn't use the same statistical penalty for all of them. So at 50%, I might say, okay, well, we'll give them 50%. So it would be only requirement of having 15 kicks, which would be less, which would take somebody who's a 90% success rate. And do I just do an overall? So when you say accuracy, do you rate accuracy? I think accuracy is more important at range, right? So in other words, if you're really accurate at 20 yards, okay. But if you're really accurate at 60 yards, that's really good. So maybe what I do is instead of giving them accuracy at various ranges, I give them an overall accuracy score and a leg strength score. And then have that leg strength be calculated in based on the range. So if you like say if your leg strength is calculated on range and you've kicked a lot of, I'd have to say you had to be successful at those distances, right? So the higher your success rate at 60 yards, that proves your leg strength. Accuracy at that yards will have an effect also. It'll be, maybe you get like a 3 times effect for accuracy percentages above 50 yards. And then leg strength will help determine whether or not, so you'll get an accuracy score that's quite high, and then you get like diminishing returns off of your leg strength. So like the farther away you get, the farther away you get, the lower your accuracy. But then that gives them a fixed accuracy. Maybe some guys are just bad at kicking short distance, like 20 or less. Doesn't seem to make sense, but in theory it could, because you're kicking at sharper angles a lot of times. Sometimes you're kicking like the hash marks are this wide, and a short distance kick is diagonal. But when you go back 20 yards, it's not that diagonal. It's almost a straight kick. Go back 20, 30 yards. That 30, 40 range might be your sweet spot where you never miss. But you've missed too many short distance ones, even though they're easier, because they're harder angles. You don't always get a kick right down the center line. There's a lot of logic when you're trying to think of the best way to calculate something and wanting to create realism in the results. How likely are the results? Now, that doesn't even count the possibility that the defense might block your kick. And considering that, I haven't even come up with a special teams defensive skill yet, which is going to be a whole nother thing. I got to figure out how I'm going to manage that one, because blocks are so rare, right? I mean, they happen so rare. It's like, is it even worth building a skill on that? I mean, a team that blocked 4 kicks is considered like spectacular. If your special teams defense has blocked 4 kicks in the season, other teams are terrified of you, even though that's really a small percentage of success. They're like, these guys are so good, man. They blocked 4 kicks. It's like, that's actually pretty rare. Let's see here. Do I have... I guess that's team defense, huh? Team passing. Game positions. Team... I don't even think I have things like that. Team defense. Miscellaneous. Tackles, assist, team defense. Is that penalty? Run, pass, penalty. I don't even know what SK allowed is. Team offensive, play drives, rushing totals. Rushing totals, passing, individual defense. But again, that's not, I don't really have. Yeah, see, special teams. Individual defense, kickoffs, kick returns. I may have to come up with just some extra logic that, like, players get as a result of their ability to shed blocks and stuff, and they have a chance at blocking a kick. If they successfully shed a block against a kick and they've got this, that, or the other thing going on, maybe they can take a shot at blocking the kick. I don't know. It's got to have to be pretty light opportunities, right? Something that can happen but doesn't happen often. Like maybe once every blue moon in a... Because what is... I mean, on the average, how many kicks are blocked a year? Let's see. On the average, how many kicks or field goals are blocked each in a year in the NFL? 0.1 field goals per game. Jeez, what is that? With 32 teams playing 17 regular season games each, that gives us 272 total team games per season. That's roughly 27 field goals per season across the league. 27 is higher than I thought, to be honest. That's fewer than 1 blocked field goal per team per year. I guess that's not so bad. So if you're designing a football sim, block kicks are more like rare punctuation marks than regular plot points. Create for drama, but not something to build a system around unless you're modeling elite special teams nuance. Want help modeling block probability based on kick distance, snap speed, or edge rush ratings? Snap speed. Oh, by the way, I came up with this really cool snap system to allow the other team to decide whether or not when they jump for at least that's my strategy. I have this strategy. I don't know how it's going to work in practice. For the board game, it was a pretty cool system to determine whether or not the defense would get an upper hand on the rush or an offsides penalty, or just nothing. I mean, it's just like they didn't get the upper hand. So basically, I had come up with a pretty cool system for the board game I created. Now it's a matter of how is that going to work. I'm gonna implement the same thing in this game. If I don't like it though, I may have to rework it. But yeah. All right. I know I'm over an hour and I'm still haven't even written this thing down because I keep overthinking how I want this to work. I'm considering maybe not doing accuracy at distance, except to have an overall accuracy logic. I just like the idea of my players being a wide variety of talent. And that means you don't get one accuracy rating. It's not as simple as that. Some guys are better at various ranges. It's their sweet spot of accuracy. But then leg strength allows them the opportunity to kick far. And I think highly successful kickers at distance all right. I got this. So maybe I do calculate like a leg strength. If everybody's got a percentage kick, how do I get a good measurement of accuracy without there being, I think ultimately I'm gonna have to just say screw the league average standard, or make it much smaller, like 10. Gotta have at least 10 kicks to generate any kind of league average standard, because it's just too much. I don't know. I always have some trouble with the fire stick. I'm struggling with this one because I'm not sure how best to go about this. All right, let's just do this. I'm going to go with a lower balance. So we're going to take the league average statistically solid mod, which is probably a really terrible name, but we're going to take it anyway. Oops. And then we're going to take this down here. We're going to say, I think because of range scenarios, I'm going to weight this in a way that favors the distance. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go kick attempts 20. Equals pass attempts 1 to 20 yards. It's going to be nice. Okay, kick attempts under 20 yards. And we're going to say that one has to be the full 30. Did I not get PATs at all? I don't have PATs. PATs. Let's go ahead and get PATs. I don't know where I plan to get them. Apparently I didn't bother to get them. Let's go ahead and get them here. Kick. Call it PAT kick attempts. Get PAT attempts. And then we're going to take this value and we're going to go here and type kick attempts under 20 yards equals, or is it, can I just do plus PAT kick attempts? I don't think I'm doing that right. Can I do, I forgot, what is the, what is it in Go? Is it plus plus? I'm pretty sure I'm doing that wrong. Some things, all these different languages, I don't know. What is the correct way to write this line of code? Some languages it's plus plus, some it's plus equals, some it's equals plus. I don't know. I mean, no, probably not both plus and equals plus. One of them does one. It's either plus equals or equals plus, or it could be plus plus. If you don't need to mutate. Oh, you can't use it in Go? If you also want to increment pat kick attempt. Oh, that's just, oh, plus plus is an increment. Oh. No. Oops, no. Sorry. Not increment. I just want to add the PAT kick into the kick under 20 yards. Oops, I don't know how to spell just. Ah, it's plus equals. Okay. They should match. I don't know why I thought the colon was required to declare this thing. Which makes sense. Oh no, because I've already declared it. Ah, gosh, Ken, you should know that. That's what you only have to declare it once. All right, so we got kick under 20, kick attempts under 20, plus equals pat kick. Pat kick attempt is that. Now I can take this and put this here, and then, so we got the mod, which is going to be attempts, divided by kick attempts under 20 and the league statistical. Okay, standard. All right, and then we're going to take the kick accuracy under 20 and we're going to multiply it by, oh, do I want to have games played? I am going to allow games played not to be allowed, not to be required. The reason I did it with a QB, you see that I have games played. Even if they met the statistical solid modifier, I wanted them to have a certain number of opponents played to validate those answers. Because you can be playing against a terrible defense, right? So if you play against a terrible defense, you could have a field day with your QB stats, right? You could have a great day. You may even have 2 or 3 of those games if you're lucky enough to only play 3 games against 3 mediocre teams. But if you can do it over at least 8 games, which is what I put in there, I said 8 games, then okay, you're playing a lot of different teams. You probably can prove that your values are valid. So now one thing I can't prove is how many of those passes came against all the teams, but at least you played in 8 games, whatever. It's an attempt. With kicking, I don't think the other team makes that big of a difference. I mean, short of opportunity, but opportunity doesn't determine your accuracy percentages. That just means you get to kick more kicks and your accuracy becomes more stable, which is probably going to be good anyway. So the more numbers you have, the better. And so opportunity just stabilizes your kicks. Because if you don't, you end up with a modifier that breaks your kicks. So I'm going to leave it just like that. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm adding the PATs and the other kicks under 20, which is usually a couple. People don't kick under 20 very often. Then I'm adding PAT kick to that value. And then I'm going to only give them credit for their attempts up to... Actually, that's not right. I need to actually set this skill. The mod is this value. This value is the BLS skill. Wait. Kick accuracy under 20 yard. Kick accuracy under 20 yards. Oh. This is supposed to be. And that's not allowed. There you go. And that's not allowed. And that's not allowed. None of this stuff's allowed. Because I'm using these values in... oops. Okay. I have them declared up here, so not actually pulling it back. Oh, under 20 yards, kick accuracy. Why? Go away. What are you doing? Kick accuracy under 20 yards. Which, okay, that's fine. I don't know why that's complaining though. Kick accuracy under 20 yards. Declared, and yes, it is used. It's right there. Twice. Is it just because I'm setting it and not using it? That's not true. All right, well, I will have an overall here, so let's go ahead and I didn't put my overall down here, so we're going to go kick accuracy overall skill equals kick accuracy. So all I can guess is that for some reason it doesn't like that I'm You know what? I'm going to take all these values. Oh. That's why I have to put skill in there. When would I ever be... Well, I guess if they never kicked. So that should be kick attempts, not kick accuracy. That should be kick attempts. And honestly, if they have no kick attempts, that's going to be a min scale too. But this is going to be a return. But I guess I have to put it down here. There we go. All right, fixed. And I don't think I need this because we're basically calculating each of these values up here, so I almost don't need this ever. Does this one even have a... No, this doesn't even do it. So yeah, I don't need any of this. This is just my write logs if I was doing stuff underneath here, but I'm really not. Oh yeah, I do need an else for this though. Well, we're getting there. It's coming together. Just a little bit slow. Good chair, read, adjust. Good chair, read, just. Readjust? I don't know what you're saying, Crossbow. Did I adjust my chair? I'm decompressing my back. I wonder if my wife wants to go play pickleball tonight. What time is it? Oh, 1:18. I've got about 10 minutes left, I think, on this stream. I'm just trying to, like I say, keep it under 90 minutes. I mean, actually, the goal is under an hour, but I'm terrible at the under the hour part. So basically, the logic now kind of becomes standard. I will adjust the skill. Oh, kick accuracy 29 yards skill. And I have to do 30 to 39 yards. Oops, nope. Dang it. Attempts, accuracy, but that's supposed to be 40 to 49 yards because I don't know how to read. And 50 plus. Do I lean in a lot? I feel like I'm leaning in a lot. I look up at my picture and I'm always like this. I guess it's better to lean in like this than to drop your head in like that, but still, it's not, probably not great either way. Didn't you say it's like really late for you? What are you doing up, man? You're supposed to be sleeping. Didn't you say it's like some early morning AM kind of time for you right now? You're like 9 hours ahead of me, which would put you at 2 a.m.? Holy moly, guy. 1 a.m. 1 a.m.? Really? 5, 7, 5, 5, 7? I thought you were 9 hours ahead of me. It's only 5 o'clock here, so you're a diehard, man. All right, let's see if I can get this one going here. Let's see. 20 to 29. 30 to 39. No, I don't want PAT kick. Why did I? No, PAT kick is not supposed to be in on that one. That's not a thing. There's no PAT kick on that. What just happened? So we got kick accuracy 20 to 29 yards. All right, that's fine. Now at 20 to 29, we're going to have less. I think the skills stats show that on the average, our 20 to 29 is way less. Like we're talking, I'm going to give it 0.5 for 20 to 29. Because none of these guys are going to hit that, and I don't want them to be penalized. What's a fair penalty for not having the 30 to 39 statistical standard? Full credit for their average. Yeah, I'm going to set it at 15. I don't know why. Well, I'll set it at half, whatever I have for the league average. The league standard mod. I'm gonna let it be. I don't know why this is not fixing. Whatever. Okay, 39. We're gonna go 30 to 39. I'm gonna divide by 2 also, and we're gonna let that one be in there. And then this one, I think 40 to 49, I'm going to actually divide by 3. I think they have to have at least 10 kicks. And everybody's going to get divided or lose a little bit out of this, but I'm all right with that. Besides, I give them a rating on it. It's not an actual percentage. It's a rating. It's just going to be how they fall into the rating. So in theory, the statistical mod doesn't mean a lot because it's basically balancing everybody against each other, and then they all get scaled. So they all end up with a rating. So the idea is that I mean, realistically, what if somebody, I may even just stick with the 0.2, divide by 2. Because, again, they're just going to get scaled. So I don't want nobody's going to be perfect at that range. But if somebody comes along and has a big year and they kick 10, 60-yard field goals, it's still not statistically solid. I mean, the odds of you kicking 100% is never going to be valid, right? I mean, you're never going to be 100% at 60 yards. I don't care how good your guy is. 100% for short distances. Maybe it's a great year for you. I'm impressed, but it's not like I can't put a stat in and say this guy is a perfect kicker just because he had 10 good kicks. It's just not. I mean, every kicker misses, right? So your accuracy may be something in the area of, maybe I'll just give, whatever their accuracy is, but they may be a 90, a 97, 98. Wasn't a stat kick hard? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a leg strength, which is going to be an additional modifier that's going to affect whatever their kick percentage is. So even if I gave them 100% credit on the percentage, they're going to have dwindling opportunity to be successful based on how many kicks they made at that range. So kick strength or leg strength will, like, I have to put in what do they call it, a bell curve. So the longer the kick gets, the weaker the opportunity of success. So they might be like, if they've got a 60-yard leg, they might be solid and be able to kick at their full percentage at 40 or 45. But if they've only got a 50-yard kick, maybe their best kicking range is 35 to 40. They may be reasonably accurate in the 40s, but then once they get into that 50-plus range, they're going to really taper off because they're not going to have great leg strength for that. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have like a leg strength modifier that actually affects how good they are at that length. But I still want to be able to give them at that range, what their skill is, how good are they. It's never going to be, even if you're a 98 or a 90 rated kicker at 50 plus yards, what does that mean? So what I'm really thinking is I'm just going to give them a kick accuracy rating, and then I'm going to have get like a skill range chart that says this is where they fit in that range. So they may be an 80% rating, or 90% rating, but a lot of that might be lower kicks because they don't have the leg strength. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got to balance out. That's why it's taken me so long to come up with a good means of determining their actual kick strength. How good accuracy are they really? So what I'm going to have to do is how many kicks have they even made at, maybe I'll even count attempts. I mean, the thought is if they've attempted 8 or 9 long kicks, somebody believes they've got good strength in their legs, right? And some of these guys who are lower, maybe it's a doubtful that they've got that length. You got a lot of guys here, like if you look at a lot of these guys, a lot of them have, what the heck? Oh, that's percentage. I was going to say, I thought that was a long. Some of these guys have 50. Of course, is that Janikowski? Yeah. So you have a lot of guys in the 50s, right? But not like nobody else is in the 60s, at least not that year. Like this guy's long. Well, I mean, he only tried a couple, but. So a long kick could imply good leg strength, 56, 60. But that's your longest made. It doesn't mean that's not your longest kick, right? So you got to figure out what their length of kick is, and that's what this kickoffs thing is. This one doesn't really have a length, but it does have return average returns. It does have touchbacks. So does touchbacks mean leg strength too? I think to some extent touchback should mean leg strength, right? How come Janikowski kicked off 58 times but only had 17 touchbacks? Isn't it ideal? I mean, isn't it preferred to get touchbacks? I guess if you think your coverage team is really, really good. Yeah, it is. And it's challenging to implement that in the game because essentially I want people to have every player should have a reasonable expectation of being able to perform like they do according to their stats. But remember, their stats are going to change over time. There's going to be variations that change a lot of that. But the ultimate goal is that it's realistic, right? So you got a great kicker who's a 90% kicker. He should mostly get 90%, but if you have him kicking 60-yard field goals all the time, and his leg strength says he's only 80% or 70% leg strength. And what's the max for leg strength? I mean, you got to figure max leg strength is max distance, right? Or at least very close. Maybe you can give 5 yards extra for leg strength. But since you get dwindling returns, maxing that distance out could be really, low percentage chance of success. But I do have to keep working on this. I will have to knock this out, hopefully tonight when I'm back at it again. But it is time for me to call it on this session. Crossbow, get